Today we're going to be working on some low back stretches. Now there's nothing more inconvenient than a tight low back. When it restricts movement, it gives us like horrible feedback that the low back is just tightened up. And in as much as these stretches will help to loosen it, they'll give you a short-term fix, there's going to be some reasons why your back is tight. Getting to the root cause of it is going to be much more profound in long-term relief of low back pain, but there's nothing quite like knowing a couple of drills or a couple of exercises just to have in your back pocket for when low back starts to tighten up, for when you're in a situation that you need some instant relief. But if you find yourself always needing this instant relief, it's going to be worth digging down and figuring out why is your low back tight. And it could be a number of reasons. It could be from exercise, it could be the way that you're moving, it could be the way that you're lifting. It could be just in your general posture, or the kind of posture that you assume more often throughout the day. Do you spend a lot of time seated? Do you spend a lot of time in the car? Do you slouch? Do you spend a lot of time on your phone? All of these can contribute to poor posture, which will manifest itself in a tight or painful low back. It could be from an old injury, it could be the type of footwear that you're wearing. So you can see it's multifaceted and there's no one cause of somebody's low back. So these exercises will help, they can provide acute relief, but it's always going to be worth looking at the cause of your low back pain. Now, I've put up some videos previously on how to build a strong core, how to have good technique for some big exercises. If you can combine the nod to your mobility, your stretching, good exercise technique, and addressing the root cause of your low back pain, you're attacking it from all angles and you will experience relief from long-term low back pain if you are consistent with paying attention to these factors. If you just stretch, if you just do your mobility work, it's like trying to empty a bathtub with a cup. But to really get to the root cause and look at the reasons would be like turning off the tap. Because you could stretch, you can mobilize, you can do your yoga, you can do your Pilates, you can do these on a daily basis. If you aren't addressing what's causing the issue, you'll be forever chasing your tail. That being said, these are the drills that I use when I feel my low back coming at me, but I also know that it's coming at me for a reason. Use these in your daily practice, pop them in as and when your low back gives you a bit of a shout. Let me know how you get on. And if there's any exercises that have been profoundly useful to you and dealing with your low back pain, pop them into a comment below, we'll share them around, and I'm sure that we'll have a good library of low back stretches in this comment thread. So first off, we've got a knee pull. You're going to lie on your back, you're going to wrap your arms around your knees, and you're going to pull your knees up into your chest. What this will do will decompress your lumbar spine. Any of these stretches, you really want to hold for maybe 30-40 seconds, and you want to breathe deep. You don't want to hold your breath. When you hold your breath, you indicate to the body that it should tense up, it should brace. Breathing just allows you to relax, give the brain the feedback that it can relax, it can release. And imagine that every time you're stretching any of the tightened areas, you're breathing down into the muscles. The low back itself isn't a muscle. There's a lot of muscles insert from the back and from the hip and from the legs. So these stretches will be focusing on that area rather than just stretching on your low back. If you're having trouble wrapping your arms around your knees and pulling them into your chest, you can reach down and grab your feet, and then as you pull your knees either side of your body, gravity will take hold and it'll stretch the inside of your groin and it'll start to loosen out the muscles that we're focusing on in and around your low back and hips. If there's any pain in doing any of these exercises, stop immediately. We don't need you to be in pain to stretch these muscles. If it's very tight, you might find yourself having to hold a position for a couple of seconds so the body will just kind of release. You open up an extra couple of centimeters of a stretch, but definitely don't push yourself and don't jar yourself and don't jam yourself into a stretch. This has to be passive, this has to be relaxing. If it's painful or aggressive, it's going to be counterproductive to what we're looking to do. This stretch stretches a muscle known as the piriformis, which runs, let's say, on the outside of your glutes and up into your hips. You lie on your back, you cross the leg that you want to stretch over your knee, you lace your hands behind that leg and you pull the leg up and towards your chest. So that external rotation of your hip and that stretch of the kind of low back area, again, that we were doing in the knee pull, just stretches the outside of the glutes, the outside of the hips that run up into the low back. The piriformis muscle is, and it can be one of the ones that causes a lot of people's low back pain. If you're proficient with this piriformis stretch, you can transition into a pigeon stretch, where we actually use the body's weight to stretch down into these muscles. So you're going to cross that leg across the body. You're going to bring the upper body down towards your leg, and you're going to be able to manipulate the stretch with that angle at your hips. And now, even if one side is causing you more pain than the other, don't forget to stretch the other side. Generally, when we find ourselves in a position where the muscle is painful and we have to stretch it, it means that we haven't given it enough attention before it got painful. So if you're in the lucky position now where there isn't pain on one side or there isn't pain at all, do these exercises. A bit of preventative stretching. A stitch in time, as they say. A lot of people only go to do stretching, only go to mobilization, only go to yoga and Pilates when an issue presents itself. If you were to add these kind of mobility drills and stretches into your routine as a daily practice, you'd be bulletproofing most of your body before any of these issues ever occur. Next, we're going to work each leg individually, which is really going to decompress the spine and get a nice rotation through the hips. We're going to pull one knee up into the chest. Keep the opposite leg flat, keep the upper body pinned to the ground, pull one knee into the chest. As you start to feel the lumbar spine loosen out, as you start to feel the muscles around the hip loosen out, you can bring the knee across the center line of the body, allow gravity to take hold, twist the lower part of your body. This can be fantastic if you get any issues that run from the lower back up into the mid back, if you have any pain twisting through your torso, or if you've experienced any tightness as you go to rotate the body. Breathe deeply into the stretch and make sure to stretch both sides. For anybody who spends a lot of time seated, maybe working at a desk, working at the computer from home, this stretch or this position is one that you can extend longer than 30 or 40 seconds. You can just hold yourself in this position and allow gravity to loosen out the QL, your quadratus lumborum. Just elevate the lower part of your legs, breathe deeply down into the low back, and you just start to feel those tight muscles in and around your hip just relax, loosen, become a bit more pliable. What I like to do is set a timer for this and do maybe 3 or 4 of these in a block of laptop sessions. So if I've been sitting at the laptop, I know it's going to be like 3, maybe 4 hours. Try and do it every hour on the hour then. A great way then of dynamically stretching the QL is to cross the legs over and reach the body up and away from that affected side. You're not trying to just bend the body as much as you can. Imagine stretching up and away from the affected area. Take this slowly to begin with, because as you go into this stretch, it can be a bit jarring, it can be a bit tight. So make it fluid, make it nice and easy to move from side to side. You can actually make it a bit of a sweep movement, and you're looking for that upward rotation or upward twist, and the crossover of the legs just adds an extra bit of a stretch to either side of the lumbar spine. These next two are fantastic stretches, and they can be held again for a little bit longer than 30 or 40 seconds if you feel that they're really effective for you. First is child's pose. You're going to get down, sit onto your heels, you're going to reach the arms up above the head, and you're going to drop the head down between the shoulders. Not only does this stretch out the lumbar spine, it also gives a really good stretch for the front of the shoulders, that upward rotation of the shoulders, which can help with posture. And then as we move into the next one, which is a Cobra, so you're going to lie flat, you're going to get your elbows right under your shoulders, and you're going to get a nice bit of a stretch in the upper thoracic spine. As you progress with this, you can actually move from bent elbows up into straight elbows, but again, work on the bent elbows first, make sure you're breathing comfortably, it's not under too much pressure, you're not feeling any kind of pain, and then you can start to progress yourself there as you test the waters with your own spinal flexibility. These last two are two of my favorite stretches. One for the lumbar spine and one for the deep hip flexor muscles. So first off, we got the hurdle stretch. You're going to sit tall, you're going to tuck the affected side leg into the groin, you're going to reach away down towards your stretched leg, and you're either going to grab your toes or you're going to link your hand underneath your calf, and you're going to draw a big semicircle away from the affected area of the spine. You're going to breathe deeply down into this stretch, and do make sure to stretch both sides of the body. Don't bounce. Don't grab your leg and pull, because again, it can be counterproductive. Make sure this is a passive, relaxing stretch. More often than not, when people experience low back pain, it's because of an imbalance in their hips. Either their psoas muscles, which connects their upper and lower body together, is becoming tightened and it's tilting their hips forward, or their hamstring muscles are very tight and tilting the hips backwards. So it always pays to have a look, not just in the area that's affecting or causing pain, but up and down the chain. This exercise is phenomenal to do that. It's passive enough that you can hold it for a couple of minutes. You're going to kneel on one leg, you're going to step 1 foot forward, and you're actively going to aim to stretch the arm up as high as you can. And imagine that you're pulling from your knee all the way up to your fingertips. Getting that big, huge stretch, you can be stretching your psoas muscles. You can add a bit of a rotation in there, but it's not too necessary. Make sure that you nail this original version of the stretch first. And that's it. Those are going to be the exercises that I would personally use when my low back starts to give me a bit of an issue. I would suggest that you use these even if you aren't suffering with low back pain. paying attention to your hip mobility, your core control, to your movement through the day, your posture. All of these will make sure you don't have to deal with low back pain in the future. So these are going to be the exercises that I would suggest you put in to your daily practice, to your warm up, to your cool down, just to make sure that you're doing all you can to sidestep low back pain. Questions, comments, or issues, please drop them into the box below. If you've got any exercises that you have used either in a class, with a coach, with a trainer, personally, or you found it online that you found to be super effective, drop it below, because it's always worth sharing the knowledge, because some exercises might be great for other people, other exercises for other people as well. So let's contribute here and make sure we've got a lot of really good stretches that we can share in our community here.